Now, local sources say fighting has been reported in a volatile area of northern Ethiopia on Monday, despite urgent international appeals to halt the renewed hostilities between government forces and Tigrayan rebels. The warring sides have accused each other of launching attacks last Wednesday that torpedoed a 5-month truce and dealt a blow to hopes for a peaceful resolution to the brutal conflict in Africa's second most populous nation. On Monday, clashes were reported in the area around the town of Kobo, which lies in the Amara region just south of Tigray, and fell into the hands of rebel fighters at the weekend, prompting many residents to take flight. Some residents told journalists that there is heavy fighting nearby. A social justice advocate in Tigray, Cherinet, Hariffo, now joins me from Washington, D.C. in the United States to help us understand the latest fighting in the region. Good to see you and thanks for your time. Now, a 5-month truce broken. Clearly, that's a huge blow dealt to hopes for a peaceful resolution to the brutal conflict in Ethiopia. Now, was this inevitable?
Thank you for having me. I think first I would like to put into record that there was no truce declared at all because the people of Tigray were still starving. AIDS was not getting into Tigray. People were dying of lack of medication. And so on. So the concept that the truce was declared was not true. Although the Ethiopian government declared that to make the international community feel that there was actually a truce declared, but there was no truce declared at that point. And the involvement of Eritrea into this conflict. Unless Eritrea is also dealt with, there's no way that the idea of peace will come back to the people of Ethiopia. So I think there's so many things left out in that truce. There was some preconditions set, but therefore it was not meant. The promises that the Ethiopian government had was not fulfilled. So it was broken because it was inevitable for it to be broken anyway.
So in other words, there was a truce, but a broken truce.
Yes, there was a fake truce, I would call it, because it was not realistic, as it was not allowing the aid to come into Tigray, and it was not allowing basic necessities to be transported to Tigray. So that kind of gave the Tigray government that they had no choice except to, do whatever they have to do to save their people.
So, Hariffo, let me come in here. And, what key issues seem to make it difficult, if not impossible, to bring peace to Ethiopia?
Yeah, I think there are so many issues left out. When I think President Obasanjo actually started campaigning for peace between both parties involved into the conflict. However, the Ethiopian people are not involved into this peace process. They're going to start a table discussion about the conflict and what caused it. The underlying issues are not addressed. The Tigray region, as you might know, that they're still under siege. Aid is not getting into it. Without basic necessities, without food, without aid, without medicine, how can you have a talk when all these things are happening? People first have to eat before even they start talking. Without addressing those issues, I think there's no way that peace will come to Ethiopia. And remember, peace in Tigray is peace in Ethiopia. There's no way that Tigray is still suffering due to this humanitarian crisis, and other regions in Ethiopia could remain calm. The other issue is also Eritrea. Eritrea has been the biggest issue right now we have in Ethiopia. The Eritrea's involvement into this conflict has made peace almost impossible because the Eritrean government is striking fire from the northern side at its bordering most of our Tigray region border, and it is not allowing for peace to prevail in Ethiopia. I think the Ethiopian government calling on Eritrea to exit Tigray will be the first step towards actually having a peaceful dialogue in Ethiopia.
Well, you've said something about food. They must have an easy passage so that people can actually eat. What more can you tell us as a social justice advocate? What conditions are necessary for this peace to reign in the entire country?
I think for this peace to prevail, I think the Ethiopian diaspora have a huge responsibility. The Ethiopian diaspora has been the victims of the state-sponsored propaganda that has been the anti-Tigrayans, and it has been going on for almost 2 years now. This has to stop. The Ethiopian community needs to hold hands together to call for their government to start discussing and having a dialogue. And the international communities, which are supposed to be doing this, are not doing enough to kind of bring peace to Ethiopia. The idea of both sidism is what is causing the human misery. So for peace to prevail in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian diaspora themselves have the responsibility to stand up to this and call for peace to prevail in Ethiopia and ask the Eritrean troop that is committing heinous crimes in Tigray to leave Tigray so that the people of Ethiopia can deal with their affairs internally. Because right now, the propaganda machine is not only coming from Ethiopia, it is mainly actually driven by the Eritrean troops and the Eritrean cadres here in the diaspora, which are pushing a huge propaganda against the people of Tigray and against the people of Ethiopia. So they are the problem to the peace process in Ethiopia at this point in time.
Hariffo, one more thing before I let you go. What should be the African Union's role in bringing peace and stability in the region?
Thank you. The African Union has failed fully. All the hope that we had in it has failed because the African Union has decided to take a side instead of solving the issues that we have in Ethiopia. I mean, as a center, of democracy and so on, that we believe that African Union should have played a major role in ending this problem, but rather it has chosen to take sides with the Ethiopian government, which has deteriorated the situation even worse. So I think the African Union should go back to its sense and start dealing with the issue as it is and call on both parties to come to the table and discuss the issues and also be impartial in the process going forward.
Cherinet, Hariffo, many thanks for speaking with us.
Thank you so much.